So, hi! I have some big exciting news for everybody, which I thought was a little bit too big and exciting to just put in a regular blog post, so I decided to do a video. I thought you would all enjoy a view of my Jane Austen collection. Isn't it cute? I like it a lot. Because, of course, it would be absolutely terrible for you all to see what I look like. There are purple people eaters and black helicopters on the loose after all, and besides, I don't want you to hurt your eyes, so, consider yourself spared. You know what? JK. Behold, here I am, the elusive Melody, who after years of hiding her face from her followers has decided to show it to you all in its splendor. Or whatever. Why the sudden change of heart? Nothing in particular, I just thought it was time. And besides, I'm beginning a crazy adventure, and I knew you would all want in on it. Or should I say we are beginning a crazy adventure. If you've been reading my blog for any length of time, you probably know who the other part of that we is. None other than my bestest friend and kindred spirit, Miss Dashwood, of yet another period drama blog. The Anne to my Diana, or the Diana to my Anne, or the Anne to my Anne, as we decided a long time ago that neither of us is Diana. And anyway, we're totally better best friends than they ever were. I should probably get to the point. The point is, I'm going to visit her in October. Well, considering that I've been there 4 times already, that's probably less exciting than it could be. But wait, there's more. If anybody on YouTube just happens to stumble across this video, let me tell you right now that I'm a huge fan of Jane Austen, probably like level 9 out of 10, and trust me, the 10s are pretty weird. And if you don't know who Jane Austen is, then you should probably leave now, because none of this is going to make any sense. So back in the beginning of the year, I joined the Jane Austen Society of North America, which is, of course, something I've always wanted to do anyways, but I, you see, had a plan. I knew vaguely that Jasna, yeah, that's the abbreviation, although personally I think that it should be pronounced Jasna, since that is an S, not a Z, had an annual general meeting every year, popularly known as the AGM, which sounds really boring, but it's not. It's basically a Jane Austen convention. It's held once a year in some prominent city in North America, and a bunch of fans gather there for a weekend of lectures and workshops and just basically socializing with a whole bunch of people who might actually know what you're talking about if you randomly quote Northanger Abbey. It all finishes off with a glorious Regency ball, and, well, the more I learned about it, the more I really, really wanted to go someday, when I'm rich and famous or whatever. Then I read a book called Among the Janeites, which I actually have right here. Ta-da! Anyway, the book concludes with a diary of the author's account of the AGM in 2011, which had a theme of sense and sensibility. And oh my stars, it sounded like so much fun. I could hardly stand it. I went on and on about it to Amy and daydreamed about how much fun it would be to go to it. As a highly introverted person, the environment most likely to change me into an extrovert, at least momentarily, is when I'm in the company with a bunch of other Janeites. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, off topic. So I've been keeping tabs on the AGM website, and I noticed that each year they were doing like the 200th anniversary of whatever book had come out 200 years ago. For example, 1813 was when Pride and Prejudice was published, so 2013 was when they did the Pride and Prejudice theme, which means that this year they're doing Emma. And I thought to myself, how perfect would that be? I mean, it's my second favorite book, and I'd be the same age as Emma when the AGM is happening. Oh. I just revealed another long-concealed fact about myself, didn't I? Oh well. You only know my age if you know Emma's age, and if you know Emma's age, I don't mind you knowing my age. Anyway, it's being held in Washington, D.C. this year, and that's when the idea hit me. You see, I've been to Washington, D.C. before on one of my visits to Amy, and we stay at her grandmother's house, which is within an hour's commute of Washington. If we could just manage to stay with her, that would take care of the hotel expenses, and I could combine it with a visit to Amy anyways, so that would just leave the registration fee. Of course, it was just an idea, and it took a long time for Amy and I to decide that we should actually try to make it happen. After all, it isn't cheap, but for me this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I mean, you're only young once. You think you'll have more ability to do something when you're older, but in fact it's when you're younger sometimes that you can do things because you have less obligations, and sometimes it is more possible to do the crazy pipe dream stuff if you just grab an opportunity and go with it. So, in short, we're going! I can't begin to express my excitement. I also can't begin to express how freaked out I am about the time that I don't have to finish all my Regency clothing. because I have to have a Regency wardrobe to take with me. After all, Amy and I are just the crazy kind of J-Knights who want to go walking around in costumes even when it's not during the ball. Right, Amy? But that's not all. I can't imagine not telling my readers what happens during the AGM, but I also can't imagine myself writing detailed posts about it afterwards. I just don't have time for that anymore. So, this is the beginning of a vlog series. Friends, you have been watching the first episode of the J-Knight Adventurers. Stay tuned for more in October when Amy and I will actually be together, and meanwhile, please like, comment, and subscribe. I never really thought I'd be having a reason to say that.